Have you ever wondered why some songs seem to reach right into your soul, resonating in ways that make you feel like they were written just for you? Take Sweet Caroline, for example. Why is it that this song in particular makes people of all ages instinctively raise their arms, sing along, and feel a sense of unity? Is it just the catchy melody? Or could there be something deeper at play? The emotional resonance of a song is often tied to whether it presents conceptual triads, sets of three elements, sometimes disjointed or fragmented, that nonetheless provide the logical building blocks necessary to create a sense of emotional completeness. When we hear a song like Sweet Caroline, our minds instinctively piece these triads together, completing the emotional journey the song sets us on. It's not just the melody or the repetition that sticks with us. It's the sense of wholeness that comes from these triadic relationships. Sweet Caroline is a perfect example of this. Neil Diamond weaves triads throughout the song, touching on themes of connection, joy, and renewal. As we explore these triads, we'll see how they create a powerful emotional landscape, one that feels satisfying not just because of the words or melody, but because of the completeness that comes from these interconnected ideas. This might be the hidden secret behind the song's timeless appeal. It taps into a fundamental human need for unity, harmony, and the feeling that all the pieces have fallen perfectly into place. We begin with one of the most memorable moments in the song, hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. In just a few lines, Diamond manages to capture the essence of connection. First, there are hands touching hands, a simple physical gesture. But as the song progresses, that physical closeness transforms into something more. As the hands are reaching out, a symbol of longing or desire for deeper contact. Finally, it culminates in touching me, touching you, where this desire is fulfilled in a mutual exchange. This triad isn't just about hands, it's about the way relationships form. It starts with that first tentative touch, grows through reaching out for something more, and finds its completion in mutual connection. Each stage builds on the last, reinforcing the intimacy being shared. It's a perfect example of how relationships develop through reinforcement, moving from physical closeness to emotional union, showing us that connection is something that deepens over time. This is the song's way of reminding us that intimacy, whether physical or emotional, is built in steps, each one reinforcing the next. As the song continues, we're led into a reflection on happiness with the line, "Good times never seemed so good." Here, Diamond isn't just describing the joy of the moment, he's telling us that these good times have become even better in hindsight, almost as if they've taken on a new dimension in his memory. Then comes the next revelation, where he sings, "I've been inclined," showing that this reflection has shaped his attitude. He's now more inclined to see the brightness in those moments. And finally, he admits to believe they never would, meaning that even though these good times now seem so incredible, there was once a time when he couldn't believe such happiness was possible. This triad works on the level of perspective, showing how reflection can shape our emotions. It begins with the experience of good times, moves to an awareness that they were greater than previously realized, and results in a shift in outlook, an inclination to believe in that goodness. Diamond is showing us something profound here, that the way we choose to reflect on the past can change how we feel about the present. In this sense, it's an inclusive relationship, where our perceptions, our experiences, and our emotions work together to shape our reality. It's a lesson in gratitude, reminding us that sometimes the more we reflect on the good times, the better they seem. Later in the song, warmth plays a central role, not just physically but emotionally. Imagine the feeling of warmth between two people. It's more than just temperature, it's a metaphor for comfort and closeness. That warmth then transforms into touching, where the emotional heat becomes physical, grounding the connection in the real world. But Diamond doesn't leave it there. As the warmth and touch come together, we see the emergence of spring, a powerful symbol of renewal and fresh beginnings. What's fascinating here is the non-linear nature of this triad. The warmth and touch lead to something unexpected, a spring of renewal, suggesting that the connection between two people can give rise to new beginnings. In relationships, as in life, closeness often leads to renewal, and the smallest gestures, like warmth and touch, can bring about profound changes. Diamond reminds us that intimacy can lead to growth, often in ways we don't predict. This is a triad about transformation, showing how relationships can give us the opportunity to start anew, like the seasons turning from winter to spring. Finally, we reach the heart of the song with the unforgettable refrain. Sweet Caroline, good times never seemed so good, so good, so good, so good. In this triad, Sweet Caroline herself stands at the center as the embodiment of all that is good. Her presence is tied to the good times being described, and the repeated refrain of so good reinforces how much joy she brings into the speaker's life. This triad reflects harmony, each element working together to amplify the others. Sweet Caroline brings the good times, and those good times only seem to get better with her around. The repetition of so good acts as a chant, reinforcing the emotional bond between the person, the moment, and the feeling of joy. In this sense, Diamond is showing us how certain people or moments can harmonize with our emotions, making everything around us seem better. It's a reminder of how important harmony is, not just in music, but in our relationships. So what can we take away from our exploration of Sweet Caroline? Beyond its infectious melody and unforgettable chorus, this song reveals a deeper structure, one that taps into our natural inclination toward completeness through its triads. Whether it's the progression from touching hands to mutual connection, the reflection on good times and perspective, the renewal represented by spring, or the harmonious refrain of so good, Neil Diamond subtly crafts a framework that resonates with us on an emotional and even logical level. As we've seen, these triads form the foundation of the song's power, each set of three concepts providing the necessary elements to create a sense of wholeness. This aligns with a broader theory. The emotional depth of a song often stems from its ability to present these triadic structures. Even when presented in a seemingly disjointed way, the triads provide the listener with everything they need to complete the emotional narrative. It's as if we're subconsciously piecing the elements together, creating a journey of connection, reflection, and renewal. Sweet Caroline is not just a sing-along, it's a song that taps into this inherent need for completeness, using its triads to create a sense of emotional resolution that sticks with us long after the music fades. Whether it's the reinforced intimacy of touching me, touching you, the reflective power of good times that have never seemed so good, or the harmony between Sweet Caroline and the good feelings she represents, these elements come together to form something greater than the sum of their parts. In the end, Sweet Caroline resonates because it mirrors how we experience life. In threes: connection, reflection, renewal, each triad gives us the logical structure we need to feel emotionally fulfilled. And that, more than anything else, is why the song endures. It offers us a moment of emotional completeness, a reminder that life's most meaningful experiences come from the relationships we build and the wholeness we create from them. So the next time you join in that triumphant so good, so good, so good, remember, you're not just singing a song, you're completing a triad, and that's what makes it feel so good.